multi-city event when SKN Athletics bring you 4 days of track and field on Thursday, March 14th and Friday, March 15th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium, and Saturday, March 16th and Sunday, March 17th at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Saturday tickets are $30 preferred seated, $15 for adults on the ground, and $10 for children on the ground. Sunday tickets are $40 preferred seated, $20 for adults on the ground, and $15 for children on the ground. Tickets are available at City Drugstore Nevis and Digicel St. Kitts. It's energy, energy, energy for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships. March 14th to March 17th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Sponsored by TDC, the Department of Sports St. Kitts, and the Department of Sports Nevis. Energy!
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. Today is Saturday, the 16th rather, of March 2024. I am Jermine Abel, sitting in today on Inside the News. Yes, this is the program where we go beyond the headlines to discuss the latest issues and events making news around St. Kitts and Nevis, the region, and internationally. Yes, so today we are going to be joined shortly by the Prime Minister, Dr. Terrance, and we will be discussing critical issues impacting St. Kitts and Nevis region and internationally as well. Yes, so you can stand by for that. But in the meanwhile, open lines. We're still awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister. But as per usual, we here... when I'm in the hot seat, we go beyond the headlines to discuss major issues impacting us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we're going to quickly take a look at some of the major headlines for the past week, major issues making the news for the last week here in St. Kitts and Nevis, across the region and in turn on the international scene. Locally, we saw the distribution of the first model houses, the two that were promised. Those were handed over this week. As some people described it, it was not what they were expecting. It was beyond their expectations in terms of what they see. It was spacious. And a lot of people, have indicated that they like what they saw. Consumer protection. The Consumer Protection Department has been warning businesses here in St. Kitts and Nevis about flouting the laws and the potential to be ticketed between $750 to $2,000 if you breach the regulations. That is, if you have expired goods or damaged containers of goods on the shelves here in St. Kitts and Nevis, you can be ticketed for that. And, it's embarrassing to be ticketed and have the government department walking out with basket loads of expired stuff. So businesses, especially those supermarkets, please be conscious, please be cognizant of that. The TDC Championships is off to an exciting start here in St. Kitts. after the first 2 days, the schools from Nevis actually dominated the first 2 days, especially the Charlestown Secondary School. Yes, they remain out front after day 2. Now the attention shifts to Nevis for the track events. And, as I was telling the folks in the newsroom this morning, I'm expecting the defending champions to dominate, because that's the strongest aspect of their track and field. They always dominate when it comes to the track events, and maybe not necessarily strong in the field, but they're always really, really good in the track events. So I'm expecting that to be an interesting next 2 days of competition. Go Sems, yes. But we continue, and the Music Festival Committee announced the first wave of artists, and it has received mixed reviews thus far. But they announced the first wave of acts that will be coming, and we saw some interesting names. Across the region, regional leaders and attorneys generals met on Friday, to discuss further regional integration as well as the Haiti situation. Vibes Cartel and his co-conspirators had their guilty verdict quashed by the Privy Council and sent back to the local court in Jamaica. Internationally, Russia holds elections as Putin is set to return to the helm of the country, because he's basically running unopposed in the country right now since the death of Alexei Navalny over there. Georgia's district attorney saw her lead prosecutor resign from that case involving Trump and his election interference. That is because the judgment that was handed down in the case involving having her removed, she and the lead prosecutor removed from the case because of their relationship status. The judge handed down the decision on Friday, and in that case, it is where the judge said either the district attorney remove herself or the prosecutor resign, and the prosecutor took it upon himself to resign in that case yesterday. So it's very interesting developments. Those are just a bit of what was transpiring in the world of news this week here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the region, and across the globe. But in the meanwhile, you can call and share your thoughts on anything that's of interest to you. We should be having the Prime Minister on this morning to discuss national issues, regional issues, and international issues with implications for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We talk about food supply, and so forth. We have been very much dependent on imported food, and that inflationary pressure internationally has a trickle-down effect on us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Even though we push a lot of eat local, we're still not eating local. We're still dependent on imported foods. Then we had the IMF report that was issued, and the Prime Minister gave his perspective on some of the issues within that IMF report. We also talk about the Citizenship by Investment Program, which is the mainstay, one of the key pillars of our economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. There are a number of unanswered questions. They're still reviewing and auditing the program as of right now. We don't have the figures in terms of how many economic citizens are of St. Kitts and Nevis, holders of the St. Kitts and Nevis passports, and so forth. So, there's a number of issues that we have to look at here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We also have to look at the continued bridge building, and not the literal bridge, but figuratively speaking, building the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, good morning again, and we do have the arrival of our guest, but we'll take a quick break and then we'll come right back to begin our discussions with the Prime Minister here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we'll take a quick break, acknowledge our partners, and then we'll come right back and begin the discussion here on Inside the News.
People make the world go round.
Shop, hunt, and win this Easter with Shop TDC. Hop over to shoptdcgroup.com, register, and start hunting. Search the website for hidden eggs and crack them open to discover amazing deals, exciting giveaways, and more. But wait, customers who spend $250 or more are automatically entered for a chance to win weekly prizes. Don't miss out on the excitement. Visit shoptdcgroup.com today to start hunting. Promotion ends April 6, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. Shop anywhere. Shop anytime.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
And good morning once again, St. Kitts and Nevis. As I promised, we do have the Prime Minister with us this morning, and we're going to discuss national, regional, and international issues impacting us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Abel, and to all those who are listening to us. I want to thank you for having me, and let me say good morning to all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, and those who are listening to us by whatever means.
Yes, we have so much going on in St. Kitts and Nevis across the region and internationally. Where do we begin, Mr. Prime Minister?
Well, I would say, first of all, I think that St. Kitts and Nevis, we are recovering from COVID-19 and its impact, the impact that it would have had. I've always said that I think one of the fundamental decisions that we made early as a government was to open up St. Kitts and Nevis on the 7th of August. And that has redounded into a number of positive things for St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of our recovery. Nonetheless, we continue to thrive. As you can see, St. Kitts and Nevis was given very high marks for 2023 for in terms of its human development index when compared to other countries in the region. And it's because of a number of critical policies that we have put in place for the advancement of our people. When we look at our education system, we have advanced that, even though that we have not been here for 2 years yet. For example, we have made college free for our students, and we have seen an enrollment in our students in the college. We have also made it more favorable for persons who have loans at the Development Bank. We have also invested in the preschool part of the education, where we have increased the subvention, doubling it so that parents can afford preschool. And that, of course, would increase the attendance of our little ones in preschool. And I think that is being seen. As I reflect on it, I don't know if there's any other part of the region that would have that. And to add to it, all of our high schoolers and our primary schoolers are receiving a device, whether it be a laptop, as in the case of those in grade 6 and high school, and a tablet for those who are from grade 2, I think, to grade 5 of the primary school. I think we are making tremendous strides, therefore, in education. In addition to that, we have opened up scholarships and favorable rates to other institutions around the world. For example, Southern University, and I want to thank Her Excellency Hadia Claxton for, really pushing that, I would say, arrangement between Southern University and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, which has already seen students going to that university to pursue PhD studies. And so we expect that number to increase. We have also seen increases in scholarships to Taiwan. We have also seen increases to Cuba and so forth. And so what we are seeing is an overall improvement in terms of accessibility to education for our people here. And to top it off, of course, we have a program where we are looking at a financial education and investment program for all of our children here between ages 5 and 18, so that they can get that financial education, which is critically important to make sure that financially they would have the knowledge that is critical for them to have a successful financial life as part of an overall successful life. And with that, each student will have the opportunity to have an account and the opportunity to invest in shares in one of the companies where the government has interest. Apart from the education, because this index also takes into account healthcare, we have made significant improvement in healthcare. If you were to look, I just came from the hospital where we have a project between a number of entities taking place for the aesthetic improvement. For example, it is being led by the Cable. There's a partnership with TDC through Burgers, who have donated the paints to paint the foyer of the hospital. Cable has undertaken to improve the foyer of the JNF hospital, which already, if you go there, you'll see significant improvements taking place already. We have also invested in the roofing of the JNF hospital in partnership with the Republic of China, Taiwan. We want to end the leaky roof. That roof has been leaking for a very long time, and we have decided this year that we will end it. We have also moved to reopen the private ward of the JNF hospital. We have done significant work in the eye clinic. As you know, we brought in very modern equipment so that we could have restarted eye surgeries in terms of cataract and diabetic diseases of the eye and hypertensive diseases of the eye and so forth. And that we started by investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in these modern equipment. We have also upgraded the surgical theater. We have introduced a new type of anesthesiology machine, and we'll add more to it as well. We have improved the imaging services. Those are the x-rays. For example, we have now a fluoroscopy, which is a type of advanced equipment for imaging studies. We have also introduced ultrasound that is also capable of doing heart ultrasound as well. We now in the final stages of putting in a brand new 125 slice CT scan machine. The technicians are here on the ground. As a matter of fact, radiographer Joel, Joel Patrick, who is one of the most experienced radiographers at the JNF hospital, is presently in St. Lucia undergoing training for the use of this very modern CT scan machine, and that should be within the next 6 weeks also. The MRI building construction has started, and the company has started the construction of the MRI machine, or the building of the MRI machine, so that the building and the machine go together. So the machine is not built and have to sit down somewhere in a factory, but that is installed. And we expect to install that during this year or very, very early next year to implement such a modern MRI. Because when I got there, I said we want the most modern MRI that we can have, such as, in addition to that, the CT scan as well. And so we know that improving the stock of equipment at the JNF hospital will result in improved health care. We also have there the most specialists ever in JNF. We have 4 internists. We have a neurologist. A neurologist is the one who deals with nerves, like epilepsy, strokes, and so forth, because we have too many persons with strokes in this country, and we thought it best to get a specialist to deal with that. We also have an endocrinologist. This is a specialist who deals with diabetes. We have a high incidence and prevalence. That means a lot of people with diabetes. And at the JNF hospital, there is a specialist who deals specifically with diabetes. We have also brought in biotechnologists to deal with the equipment at JNF as well. And we have brought in presently another pediatrician to work along with the other pediatrician who was there. We have also brought in another surgeon who is here for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, to work at JNF to improve our surgical department. We continue to work to improve it as we go along. We have also added a psychologist at the hospital who is also a specialist in postpartum mental health issues. We have also invested in the morgue area and the area to the back of the hospital. We have done that other part of the roofing of the hospital as well. We have improved our incineration of, waste products and handling of the waste at JNF Hospital. It is something that people would only notice if it's not handled properly. We have also gone through a lot of training of our nurses. We have added more nurse managers and assistant nurse managers. We have increased the number of scholarships for nurses to become specialists. Presently, we have nurses who are specializing in intensive care, and we are sending nurses to specialize in emergency care. We have those who have gone to study informatics in health and so forth. And so we are now moving to make sure that we increase our cadre of specialist nurses here in St. Kitts and Nevis. That would be down really in the improvement of healthcare. As you know, we are now in the process of adding doctors or medical assistants to the emergency room, and those medical assistants will be there just to see patients when they come to the hospital. So we are going to eliminate the wait time. We want the wait time before you see a doctor to be less than 15 minutes. It will be the best, I think, in our region. Within 15 minutes, the medical assistant should be seeing you, taking your vitals, and getting you ready to see the doctor, who would, of course, treat you more in-depthly. And so we are making these significant changes, not just in terms of the aesthetic of the hospital, but in terms of healthcare delivery. Also want to mention that we'll undertake significant work as well to improve the psychiatric ward. That is critically important. Mental health is a fundamental part of healthcare, and that part will not be neglected. As I've said, we have added a new psychologist at the hospital, and we have improved. We are now getting the scope of work done to improve the psychiatric ward. I want to announce something very, very exciting. We look at our stats from last year, 2023, and I have been informed by Dr. Patrick Martin that the stats reveal that we have not had any deaths of children between 1 and 5 in St. Kitts and Nevis. And he has said that this is the first time that that has been recorded. This is possible because of the Children's Medical Fund that we have put together. That fund funds children who has to go overseas necessarily for advanced medical treatment. And a number of children have benefited. We think well over 30. And some of the surgeries were life-saving surgeries, such as heart surgeries. Those children in the past, their parents would have had to be around town with a sponsor sheet and GoFundMe and so forth. And many times by the time, it takes time to raise that type of money, and some of the children would die waiting for the parents to raise the money to take them for these very sophisticated treatment. We have eliminated that, and that is why I'm proud to say that St. Kitts and Nevis, with respect to the statistics as presented to me by Dr. Martin, did not record deaths of any children between 1 and 5 here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we expect improvements in all aspects of the healthcare system. We're still seeing from the days of COVID some extra deaths. The whole world went through extra deaths. We saw that last year, but it's coming down. We expect to go even below the 2019 numbers within a year and a half to 2 years. And that is because we have improved significantly the healthcare delivery at the JNF hospital. And there are some other exciting things that are coming. But I'm talking to all of this because we are not waiting until we build the new hospital, which will start this year for sure, to really seek to improve healthcare delivery. And that is why all of this is being done. I would say another thing with respect to public health, the St. Peter's Health Center, we are negotiating now to get it restart, but we'll do some work at the present health center. Some work has been done already, but we'll do some more. With respect to the pharmacy at Mary Charles, that pharmacy will open again during the course of next week. I think it was open this week, but I'm going there on Tuesday. And we want to extend that service, pharmacy services, in that part of the country, so that our people can have access to getting their drugs and whatever treatment their doctors would have prescribed them. And so we'll see that as well. So we are significantly improving. But let me mention that there's one other piece of equipment I wanted to mention, which was an EEG machine. That machine really is to check for the brain and the brain waves. It is used to help patients with epilepsy and other type of brain diseases. For the first time, we'll be having such an advanced piece of medical equipment at our JNF hospital. Why are we doing all of this in healthcare? Because healthcare, we feel, is a right, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve excellent healthcare. At the Cardin home, we have invested significantly in the Cardin home thus far. Of course, more work need to be done. For example, we have improved the strong room at the Cardin home, where we have put in more. We have done it in such a way so that it is more humane. It is a room where you put patients who might become very aggressive and unruly, but we put patients there so that if they need that treatment, it can be had in a very modern way. We also started significant painting at the JNF hospital. I mean at the Cardin home. We are also now looking at the roofing system. So the Cardin home is actually seeing significant upgrades. The other thing that we'll add to Cardin home is a cadre of nurses who would just be at the Cardin home. These are nurses who are trained in gerontology or geriatrics medicine, which is medicine for the elderly. Some of them, of course, will see the disabled as well, so that at the Cardin home, it is no longer what it used to be. So we have invested heavily thus far, and we'll continue to invest in the Cardin home so that the residents can have the best experience that they can have. So I would say, Abel, from the healthcare perspective, we have done significant work. From the economic perspective, as I've said before, there's much work to be done. We have done tremendous work thus far, but I must admit that we have to diversify our economy more. The economy had become too dependent on the CBI program. That was a significant error, mistake by the previous administration. And so now we are pushing to diversify the economy. That is why we are pushing so much in tourism. And as you can see, we have more flights coming into St. Kitts and Nevis. Our port is now adorned with the largest cruise ships that are built. And we just recently had the Icon of the Seas, and there's another large cruise ship in that class to be, it will be inaugurated in July, and St. Kitts is one of the places that they will visit. So these two large ships, we expect to visit St. Kitts every month, even during the months that we call the off-season months. We are trying to eliminate that. That concept of off-season tourism, and we are seeking to get tourism all year round. That is one of the ways in which we are diversifying the economy. The other way that we want to diversify the economy is to make St. Kitts and Nevis an area where we would be the first country to transform to sustainable energy. We want that. So far, with the solar project that we have negotiated and make a right, because that was going nowhere in structure, we now are on the verge of launching that project, which would be the largest battery storage solar project in the Caribbean. Also, I want to announce that geothermal is well on its way. So we want to create energy as a sector, and that would help us to, if you look at the IMF report, to wean off some more of the CBI program, because we have become so dependent on the CBI program. If that program is affected in any way, it would affect St. Kitts and Nevis. And we see that there are things that can affect it. And therefore, in order to position St. Kitts and Nevis to deal with that, is to expand tourism, to diversify that. Secondly, to establish energy as a sector and to become a sustainable island state premised on sustainable energy. The other thing is investments in agriculture as well, so that we can cut down on our food bill. Those will be the nexus: energy, water, food, and the industries that can follow all of that once they're available in abundance and available at relatively low cost. And so I will say that is where we are seeking to establish our economic foundation now. And if you look at the IMF report, it does give credence to what we have been saying with respect to the sustainable island state. So I'm excited about that, Abel. There are many other areas that we can touch apart from the energy, tourism, healthcare, agriculture, and the significant investments that we are making as well to establish a scientifically based agriculture sector that really would lead us to improve and increase our productions and cut down on import cost when it comes to agricultural products, our food. Just yesterday, I think we launched a plant. I think it was where they would be testing plants scientifically, which would help us to determine, the health of plants and the better plants to use and so forth, for the first time in St. Kitts and Nevis. That is a significant step. Recently, we've been having discussions with other investors who are seeking to see how they can invest to improve our output, our agricultural output. So, in a sense, I think that we are on the right path. Of course, more work to be done. This is a fairly young government, and if you see our administration rather, and if you see the number of things that we have done to put St. Kitts and Nevis on the right path and quickly being called the number one in the CARICOM, that shocked us. I didn't expect it to. I expected that it can come. I always expect that it would come, but it came much quicker than expected, and it's from 2023, what took place in 2023. However, I cannot negate the fact that we are a vulnerable country. We are a small island state, and anything can upset that. And that is why we are working so hard to establish a sustainable island state and to diversify our economy. But I will say, Abel, that all of this is premised on good governance. I have said over and over, if we were to establish a country on the principles of good governance, we will see results that will shock us. So that first result, I think we were judged to be number one in the CARICOM. That might be the first time we have had that in the CARICOM. Maybe in the OECS, yes, but in the CARICOM, where we rank this year above Bahamas, Barbados, and so forth, those two countries which were always ahead of St. Kitts and Nevis. For the first time, we see St. Kitts and Nevis going ahead in the CARICOM based on what took place in 2023. However, we continue to work to make sure that we can sustain what we have and to deal with the threats that we are faced with presently. So I can't always say that going along will always be an easy road. There will be significant difficulties from time to time, or challenges rather. But I am pleased to know that we have a clear plan in place to deal with the challenges that are ahead. And so I will say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that this administration continues to work in your favor. For example, minimum wage, first increase in minimum wage, in about a decade. We felt and we feel that improving people's wage is better always than just passing passive money to people, because that does not add to your social security. At the end of your work life, your social security benefit does not increase with passive passing of money. But with that increased wage, your social security benefit increases. Apart from that, when you look at having an increased wage, it makes you look better in front of a bank. You can afford a loan, a mortgage. It puts you in a better place to be able to afford these things. And so we thought that was critically important so that our people can seek to have a better financial standing. Nonetheless, I want to say to all people that we have to work and work hard. There is no free lunch. If we are not going to work hard as a people, we cannot advance and we cannot sustain what we have. We have to be willing to work hard. You cannot expect that any country can develop if it develops on the premise that everything must be free. What we want to establish is a state where good governance prevails and justice prevails and equity prevails and people have real opportunities to advance themselves once they are willing to put in the work. That is the only way you can establish an advanced country. If we are not willing to do that, we will never truly get to a sustainable island state, an advanced country. Because the Bible said it, Abel, by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. It does not mean you have to go out in the sun and work like you used to. In modern times now, we use AI and technology. It just means that if you are to live well, you have to be willing to work at the individual level and at the national level. You have to be innovative, because the government cannot be the answer for everything. The people must also participate to present answers as well and to become innovative as well. We want to create an environment such as this so that we can achieve what we seek to achieve. But I will say before we get into it, and I know you want to get into it right now, is that in a deep sense, we have done a significant amount of work, and we want to encourage the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to continue to work and to be innovative, to come up with ideas and let these ideas help them to advance themselves and their lives so that together we can create the best scenario here for all of us. So I will say, Abel, those are the initial things that I would want to say and give you the opportunity to dialogue with me.
Okay, thanks for that, PM. I think you brought everything in a concise manner there. I think people now understand what you've been doing across, what the government has been doing across all sectors here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Before I throw out my first question to you, I just want to tell the callers that you can call in. The lines are open. But please, you may not necessarily agree with everything that the Prime Minister said. You may not agree with the Prime Minister. You may not like the Prime Minister, but respect the office, right? And keep your questions short and be respectful. We try to go beyond the headlines here and not talk politics, so we can get a better understanding of how everything and decision-making impact the people in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it be international, regional, or local events, are impacting you here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the phone lines are open. You can call in. Mr. PM, I want to start quickly with the health. Take a step back to health.
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned is that you've done a lot in terms of building out the health sector. But two things quickly I want to get from you before I go to the phone lines. One, in terms of Nevis St. Kitts, somebody asked me this question last evening. Is the ministry, the federal ministry, willing to partner and assist the local government, because there's a hospital over there that's still not fully built out as yet? Is the government willing to partner with Nevis in that regard, one? And two, doctors, and you alluded to it a little bit, in terms of bringing the wait time down to about 15 minutes or thereabout. I've received complaints from people regarding the wait times, especially when you go at outpatient emergency and so forth. How are you planning to deal with that in the short term as you wait for the rollout of the whole 15-minute wait time initiative?
Right. Thank you, Abel. Let me start with the last question, the wait time. That is going to be rolled out in 2 weeks. So there is no wait on that. We'll have a cadre of medical assistants whose job it is just to work in triage. Would have nothing to do with the treatment that is taking place in the emergency room in the back. If there is, of course, a mass casualty situation like an accident or so forth, then, of course, you have to step in. Everybody has to step in. But that cadre will be just for triage. So that is why I'm very confident that we'll be able to bring the wait time down significantly. And it will be the shortest wait time maybe. Presently, our wait time might seem long, but I can assure you that it is better than Canada and the United States of America. I can assure you that. Our wait time does not compare. However, we see the need to improve on the wait time. I would also say that the triage area for our people who are listening is not a first come, first serve area. When you are triaged based on the severity of your medical condition, that determines how soon you will be seen. If somebody comes to the hospital with chest pain and having a heart attack, they go in right away. But if you come to the hospital because, you have a pain in your elbow that you've been having for the last 6 months because you pounded somewhere, of course, you would have to understand that the person with the heart attack, even if they come after you, would have to go in before you almost immediately. And so I want to sensitize our people to that. Right now, we are doing the work at the hospital, and when we have the triage officers there, they will be able to indicate to our people who go to the emergency room that is not a first come, first serve. It is really dependent on the severity of your disease. But in terms of getting to see that triage person, you'll see that triage person very quickly. However, the time for you to get your definitive treatment will be determined by the severity of your medical condition. So I want to say that. So within 2 weeks, Abel. Now, the other question you asked with respect to Nevis. As you know, Nevis has its Ministry of Health and it has its own program and so forth. However, we work on a number of critical initiatives even now. But I think that there is room to work more. For example, we have dialysis over here, and there's no dialysis in Nevis. As you know, at our dialysis center, where we have also increased the number of machines, and I want to thank our partners in Canada and Mr. Leo, who is from St. Kitts and Nevis. His initiative was criticized unfairly so, but we can see the benefits. I mean, you should criticize things, but when you see improvement in health and our citizens contributing, we should applaud them and not criticize them. Otherwise, they're going to prevent others who want to contribute from contributing. And so I want to say to our people in diaspora, we want you to contribute. Don't be afraid to contribute to your country, St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, yes, we'll partner with Nevis, and we continue to partner with Nevis. Of course, it has its island administration, which set the agenda for a number of things, but where there's room, we will partner. But then the whole question of partnering with Nevis, as you know, it is a partnership between the federal government and the Nevis Island Administration, why we will have geothermal exploration take place. That is presently about a $37 to $40 million US dollars, which is about 100 million EC dollars investment that is going to take place in Nevis, because this federal government has determined that we should do that in Nevis. That had been something that, because of political issues, that it could not have been arrived at. But I'm happy that we are at the point where we can arrive at it for the benefit of both Nevis and St. Kitts. When people from outside the region look at Nevis with this resource and look at St. Kitts and see that we are the smallest independent country with such a great resource, people can't understand why we are not working together to develop the resource to benefit both St. Kitts and Nevis. However, in the Parliament, we have passed the resolution to say to the world that the Nevis Island Administration and the federal government will partner to make sure that we get the resource from the geothermal, and that will benefit both islands. So I want to thank the Premier for being very progressive in his thinking in working with the federal government to bring about the realization of the geothermal. This will also help us to transition the federation to the next level in creating a sustainable island state where renewable energy will be a part of that foundation, a fundamental part. So I think I answered both questions in terms of the wait time. In 2 weeks, we are going to eliminate that. That will be in place. And as far as working with Nevis, we look for every opportunity to work with the Nevis Island administration for the betterment of the people of Nevis.
Okay, so Mr. Prime Minister, we go to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Good morning, caller. Can you keep your question short?
Yes, very good. This is Jam Dong. Good morning to the Prime Minister, and good morning to yourself. Mr. Prime Minister.
Good morning.
How you get that say to think it's people? You're looking for, what they call this word there? But you use the word around excuse me, around the round table saying you're looking for data. You looking for data? Boy, Mr. Prime Minister, you come from a party where you had experience in CARICOM, Robert Bratcher. You was to tell them, think it's saying and deal with this like that, You see how long you come to us? It's pressure bring you there and Win FM. Anyway, have a good day because I don't want this nothing. But let me show you something, Stay away from that, And you have to come in a town hall fashion to we, the people. That near designed to mash us up. Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, and Guyana. Then not a problem on the street, but don't bring it here. We're going to show Have a good day.
Let me address that before you answer another one, because I think he's talking about the free movement issue and the CSME. Obviously, there have been people here who have been trying to mislead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let me clear that up. He said something about pressure made me come to the people. This decision was made at CARICOM. This was not made here. There are politicians going around here fooling the people. And obviously, that type of misinformation got to the caller. And I want to clear that up. The decision that I made was made at CARICOM, not here. And I encourage you to check the CARICOM records. This is not a reactionary type of decision. Secondly, he spoke about Robert Bratcher. Robert Bratcher was the quintessential regional integrationist. He left the local government of St. Kitts and Nevis to become the Minister of Finance in the West Indian Federation, Robert Bratcher. So the history on Robert Bratcher concerning this, as the call is trying to point out, is not really accurate. Remember, he left St. Kitts and Nevis to become the Minister of Finance in the West Indian Federation. So let me clear that up. Secondly, what I said on the round table was said at CARICOM, that we, St. Kitts and Nevis, we need to make sure that whatever is done will not affect our people negatively. And until we get to that point where we are very sure of that, that decision would not be made to go totally in. However, we know that CARICOM and working within the framework of CARICOM has benefited St. Kitts and Nevis tremendously since from the days of what Robert Bratcher, as he mentioned, was seeking to establish. So I wanted to clear the history because, again, when the caller called in, you can see that there was a misunderstanding of Robert Bratcher in the West Indian Federation and regional integration. It's the opposite of what the caller suggested. I would also like to say that there are a number of CARICOM entities that are benefiting St. Kitts and Nevis presently, such as CARFA, that has to do with health. St. Kitts and Nevis cannot do that alone. That would bankrupt our country or deliver very poor public health to our people, which will be deplorable had it not been for CARFA and its work within the region. We also have CXC, the regional exam, again, a CARICOM initiative, which is critically important for us to show to the world that we have standards and we can prove that our people are educated through the CXC and CSEC system. We have CDEMA. CDEMA is a CARICOM entity that deals with disasters. When we hear hurricane coming, if St. Kitts and Nevis were not a part of the CDEMA, we will not be able to effectively deal with the scourge of natural disasters such as hurricanes, etc. And I mention these things to show our people that we are already benefiting significantly from CARICOM ever since its inception. However, I want to clear the air that my utterances when it comes to the free movement is what I made at CARICOM. But of course, each time I travel, I come to the people at a round table to give them the information on the travel. I know that just before that, there were people on the radio misrepresenting what was said. That's one. And I saw a news report going around speaking about what the Prime Minister of Barbados said. The Prime Minister of Barbados has a right to put forward the Barbados' position. I cannot interfere with that. That is a sovereign nation. However, what should have been asked before the conclusion was made was, what was your decision at CARICOM? So this is not even reactionary. My response is documented in the caucus meeting of CARICOM. And therefore, I want to say that anything that is done with free movement, no decision will be made that will affect St. Kitts and Nevis negatively. That has been my decision since in CARICOM, and that has been my decision even now. And anybody who is saying otherwise are persons who want to spread propaganda and innuendos and suggesting that I came forward because of pressure. That is not so. Please see my response at CARICOM. But I want to thank the caller, of course, for calling in because he gave me the opportunity to clear up a number of things. So I don't want our people to become so antagonistic to CARICOM either as a concept and what it is delivering. There's more work to be done. We are not there yet. But our country benefits significantly from working within the framework of CARICOM. And we should continue to work to improve it, to make sure that all benefit well. And no decision will be made that will affect St. Kitts and Nevis in a negative way. And therefore, I said, we need information, we need data, because if there's any suggestion that will be impacted negatively, St. Kitts and Nevis cannot go forward in that framework. And so I just wanted to make that clear. And say lastly on it, that my decision was done at CARICOM itself. And anybody who says anything differently after that can always check what was my decision at the meeting itself. Thank you I want to thank the caller again for the opportunity to clear that matter up.
Okay, we go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning, man. Good morning to the Prime Minister and good morning to yourself.
Good morning.
My quick questions, I have a query into the thing they call the brand clause.
Yes.
I have some personal issues with that. I'm wondering if you guys going to revisit that brand clause by any chance with the reforms that might be coming up. My thing with the brand clause is that a natural born citizen in the Federation travels outside or he gets access to a foreign passport. And why is he being blocked from coming back and contribute to his own society where he was born?
Right.
And I got one or two more questions. I want you to.
But just quickly, caller.
I want
that's,
you guys.
That's a deep question. It's a very deep question. Yeah, go ahead, caller. Mm-hmm.
And what is your personal view on the Haiti situation on the ground in Haiti and what you want to see for Haiti going forward? Thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, caller. This caller, I can see, has been following the history of St. Kitts and Nevis for a very long time. I don't know who he is, but the depth of his questions suggests that. For example, he spoke about the Bryan clause. And I will say to the caller, I will get some legal advice on this, but I will go to the crux of the matter. He's trying to find out if you have a citizen here and that citizen becomes a citizen of another country, why is it they can't come home and contribute? It's a matter of loyalty and where you pledge your allegiance. I will say that to the caller. And the concept is you cannot pledge your allegiance to two countries, caller. So you can, I think it is clear that you can have a green card, which is, a type of work permit to the United States of America. And that does not block you from participating in the elections of St. Kitts and Nevis. But if you were to become a citizen of the United States of America, then the question becomes, what is your loyalty? Where does your ultimate loyalty stand? So if a question comes up and you're a citizen of both, and I ask, where is your loyalty? So to eliminate the cloud that your loyalty is in question, it is best, and I think it is clear, that you should only be a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. There's part of the discussion that I would need more consultation on. It is one, whether if you are born in another, if you are given your citizenship, let's say by a parent, and you did not voluntarily do it, does it apply in that sense? And is it different to one who went out and sought to get that second citizenship by their own voluntary actions? That is a question, I think, that was being discussed among us recently. And so we'll get some legal elucidation on that last part. But the question of having two passports is really the question of loyalty. I think the Bryan clause might have been a little bit different in that sense. As you know, he's talking about the Bryan clause, which was introduced then to block Fitzroy Bryant, who was a representative of constituency number 8 at one point, from running in an election, suggesting that he was not born here, that he was born in Antigua. I think that a decision was made on that, and it goes to the second point I made, whether it's by your own action or the action of your parents, for example. But I will seek, Abel, to get a position on that, to relate it to the people, as it's a deep constitutional question. But the deeper question is, where does your loyalty lie? And to eliminate any questions around that, I think almost every country in the world would ask anyone who stands for high office that you only be a citizen of their country, so that the question of loyalty is not at the forefront or on the table.
Okay, we go back to the phone lines here from this caller. Good morning. Okay, we lost that caller. On the Haiti situation.
Yes, on the Haiti situation, of course, St. Kitts and Nevis is part of the CARICOM framework. We want to see peace in Haiti. We want to see a thriving society in Haiti. We want the people and citizens of Haiti to be able to enjoy a good life. And so we all agree to that. Where the matter is how are we going to get there? As you know, CARICOM has been seeking to get consensus along with other international partners as to how a framework of leadership can be created in Haiti, and to set a pathway towards free and fair elections to get their leaders elected through that democratic process. Also, the discussion is getting a stabilization force because of the security issues in Haiti. So we want to stabilize Haiti so that the region can, of course, be a stable region. It's a fairly stable region, but we don't want that to be disrupted, of course. But most of all, for the people in Haiti, those whose lives are affected, our hearts go out to them, and we must do all we can to help that.
Mr. Jermine, I want to interject there quickly.
Yes.
We as you said that, and CARICOM has come up with a decision that, as leaders, we want to assist Haiti. But this morning, before I came on, the Barbecue, who's leading the revolt, basically, he's saying he's not agreeing with CARICOM's position, and we don't want CARICOM's intervention in this situation. So how is this position, how is the position taken by CARICOM going to fit into all of this? Are you guys going to end, and the bottom line here would be that you guys would agree to have forces go into Haiti?
Let me say, as discussions are continuing, I think that this has to be a Haitian-led initiative and a Haitian-led solution. So the CARICOM is not trying to usurp the Haitian people. CARICOM, within its framework, and Haiti is a part of CARICOM, is seeking to help to be a conduit through which some sort of consensus can be reach to help the situation in Haiti. So the CARICOM is not imposing itself on Haiti. The CARICOM is seeking to help the situation in Haiti. But this has to be Haitian-led, and it has to be a Haitian-derived solution. So let me make that clear of all in the first place.
Okay, Mr. Prime Minister, we're just about out of time, but would you indulge us for another 10 minutes?
Yes, I can indulge you for another 10 minutes. I know it is your break, but as I told you before, I was at the hospital as I was doing some volunteer work there and encourage others to do volunteer work. We are really getting the foyer, which is the open area as you enter into the hospital. Before, as you can see, I'm in my red shirt, but if you look here, positive or negative, this is really to encourage our people when it comes to HIV to be tested and to be safe. It's critically important.
Well, I asked you that because the phone lines are going off.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I know the callers really want to interact with you. So, caller, good morning. Hello, caller.
Greetings.
Greetings. Can you quickly state your question?
Okay. 2 questions. When was the inception of the CBI program, and do you consider going forward concerning the free movement of people? Do the Federation consider the difference in the dollar value as we go forward in the free movement of people? The dollar value, the difference of the dollar value in the different territories in the Caribbean.
Right.
That's very significant within the scheme of things.
Right.
Blessed love.
Blessed love. So I want to make it clear again that our decision is, the St. Kitts and Nevis decided at the meeting that, we will continue to pursue the matter, gain more information, more data, and no decision will be made that will affect us negatively. And that has been the decision. With respect to looking at the dollar, multiple things have been looked at, including the economies. That is critically important, including the security situation, including the healthcare situation, the education. All of the parameters that can be affected were looked at. And therefore, I want to assure the caller that too was looked at. But I want to say, if you are here within my voice and you hear any word that St. Kitts and Nevis has agreed, or I just came to speak, I just, come on this show to speak about it, that is not so. This decision was made at the CARICOM's meeting so that you can check the records to see where my position was. And so I wanted to clear that up. But yes, caller, that too was looked at. The other matter here was the matter of the CBI program. The CBI program came into being in the 1980s. It was started then. I want to say that I will make a significant, I will speak on the CBI program within the next month to really share more in-depth information. As we came in, we had to do, of course, our audit and research and to extract the information and to see what we were really dealing with. And so I want to say to the caller that more information and a more comprehensive set of information will be coming very, very soon within the next month. With that, I want to reiterate that we had become too dependent on the CBI program. It was a significant economic failure by the last administration. You cannot allow your economy to become so dependent on a program that is fragile, a program that is vulnerable and is not totally dependent on us. We spoke about tourism and not to depend too heavily on tourism, as its vulnerability is part of the whole sector of tourism. And we went into another program where we exposed ourselves significantly. And that is why you see that we are working so hard to create the sustainable island state agenda. And that is what has left St. Kitts and Nevis so vulnerable as well. But we want to eliminate that. And we'll work as hard as we can, as innovative as we can with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis so that we can attain that. If persons are not speaking towards that sustainability and to diversify the economy, they are really hoodwinking the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And in that, when I give that speech, that presentation, it can be in Parliament as well, I will share a significant amount of information with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis so that we can understand exactly where we are when we are dealing with an industry that is very fragile at times and can be vulnerable. However, I must say that we have done significant work with respect to the CBI. As soon as we got in, we change some of the policies. We form a number of critical things so that our international partners could see that we wanted serious reform. Had we not done those reforms, we would have lost visa-free access as others have. I want our people to know that because there were things that we needed to do to make sure that our international partners are more secure in terms of understanding what our program is about and can be rest assured that we are doing everything we can to protect them as we protect us. Remember, when you have visa-free access, it's a treaty on agreement, and part of the agreement, it has a number of things that you must comply with. But the spirit of it, whatever we do, will not affect you negatively. And the changes we made was really to settle them that we don't want to affect us negatively, and we don't want to affect you negatively either. And the changes we made have really strengthened our program. However, we must understand that as we go forward, there will be more changes to be made, and there will always be changes to be made if the spirit is to make sure that we protect the program as much as possible. But I keep saying, and I will keep saying, that significant dependency on the program was a major error of the last administration.
Mr. Prime Minister, while we're on this topic, quickly, can you tell us which country or countries are the leading source for our passports here in St. Kitts and Nevis? And I don't know if you have this number at hand, but overall, how many citizens do we have?
As I told you, we were doing the audit, and the people wanted the numbers early. But I've said before, and I want to be prudent, that when I come with the information, that is because in short order, we would have done it. This program has been going on since the 1980s. We have only been there for less than 2 years. This type of information has never, ever been presented in a particular way. However, going through the program, looking at the program, we feel that there's nothing to hide at all. We have said to our international partners, we'll be totally transparent with you. We have made sure that the due diligence in terms of who gets in is as tight as possible, and recently we have increased the price. I wouldn't say the price, but your contribution to how much you invest, which would allow you to become a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Presently, we have the highest in the OECS. The highest in the OECS. Our due diligence has become even tighter. We have now added more in-depth interviews to our program. We determine who gets and who does not get based on a number of parameters, and that can change from time to time. We have also in the process of adding a security personnel to the OECS office in Brussels who would surveil our passport and how it's being used, for example, in Europe, to say to Europe that we are very serious when we speak about protecting us as much as protecting them and making sure that nobody is abusing their privilege of having access to our citizenship. So we are seeking to be as responsible as possible. So I will say, Abel, before you ask that question, I think I said we will have significant announcements with respect to the program within a month. So allow me the opportunity then to present the data and what you are asking at this particular time.
Okay, so these are our final two callers.
Yes.
Caller, good. Okay, we lost that caller, dear. two questions as we await
Yeah.
our final call. One, the operationalizing of the. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines for this caller. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good day, moderator, and good day to Mr. Prime Minister.
Good day.
Mr. Prime Minister, I want to thank you for your explanations and also for the work that the administration has been doing in continuing to improve progress for the country. Now, I have a concern. I was very disappointed, and I'm hearing it from others, that such a major, likely impactful decision as the free movement of persons that CARICOM is looking into or signing up to was not brought to the people of the country. Because it is true that it was signed at CARICOM, but CARICOM heads represent their people. And even for this last week, it seemed as though even the national media here was trying to shut down discussion of it. We should have been having a continuing discussion, whatever else is going to take place, a broad discussion about the implications on education, on health, on our budget. You just mentioned about the CBI and that we have been very dependent on it. I agree with that, but that we're diversifying, for example, into get revenues from tourism. But even tourism could be very much impacted by such a decision. And also the CBI up to now that is in operation is able to fund a lot of the programs that you are outlining. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had that money. So I believe that more discussion as of now, we should have started before, should be taking place about the implications of the free movement of persons. This is not to do with what is going on already, because we see where the benefits from CARICOM have been, where the benefits have not been. Each country has its own thing. And very recently, the ambassador of CARICOM, ambassador of Antigua to CARICOM, outlined and gave a big historical, report on what it's about and the likely implications, and was even suggesting that he's surprised that within the OECS, because we have a functioning entity here, what has not been done. And so likely impacts, for example, on the EC dollar. Impact because once you sign up to this, you are going to be constrained by the CCJ. And we have already had some fallouts, if you want to call it, some negative impacts, even in terms of our sugar the other day when we had to buy from a cheap, more expensive source within CARICOM. That itself is not bad. It's just that we must understand that CCJ will have an enforcing mechanism when people who come under this program do not get what they want. And so we should be looking at it much more cautiously, in my mind, and following more the example of Antigua. And we are not hearing it from you, with respect, with Prime Minister, of what it is our country has signed up to. Have we signed up already to 7 years, to 3 years, and we haven't had a discussion as yet about anything? That is my concern. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for what has been going on in terms of improvements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I see that the issue of CARICOM and CSME is the hottest point today. And I think because a lot of things were said that were not so. And basically hearing each caller reiterating, which I appreciate because the callers give me the opportunity to really speak to it. Ambassador Larry Vaughan has been out there as well, I would like to say to the caller. I don't know if she had the opportunity to hear him, because the caller pointed out that she heard the ambassador from Antigua. But our own ambassador was on our national radio and TV stations speaking to the issue of CARICOM, Ambassador Larry Vaughan. And so he speak to a lot of the history of CARICOM and the matters that we are dealing with presently. So I applaud the ambassador of Antigua for speaking to it, but our own ambassador spoke to it as well. And again, I am picking up here, Abel, that there were persons who went out and speak to the issue without even granting me the courtesy of saying, Prime Minister, what did you say at CARICOM? And on the round table, people are suggesting that it was reactionary, and it was not reactionary. It is actually what took place at CARICOM. But people jump out saying all sorts of things to mislead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So St. Kitts and Nevis has not signed on to this aspect of it. CARICOM has been mostly beneficial to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we cannot become isolationists. CARICOM has been more beneficial to us than almost any other region of the world. Let us not take what we have done for ourselves for granted. Sometimes we look for our other large countries and say what they are doing, but I can say clearly that CARICOM has done much more than they have, and we must give CARICOM its due credit. I cannot allow that the opportunity to pass and I not speak about the benefits of CARICOM. However, St. Kitts and Nevis has not taken that step with respect to free movement because, again, we will not do anything that we think will affect St. Kitts and Nevis negatively. And so I want the caller to be clear. So our own ambassador has been out there, caller, speaking to the issue of CARICOM and free movement and so forth. As a matter of fact, I want to say to the caller that this type of discussion has never, ever really taken place in St. Kitts and Nevis, not even with the last administration. I will say that the last administration, to a great extent, was missing in action when it comes to the issues of CARICOM. I can say that clearly. We have put a task force together, and the ambassador, Larry Vaughan, who was charged with putting that task force together, informed me that the task force is now together. It involves a number of entities, and they will be looking at all aspects of CARICOM. This has not been done before as we are doing it now. And so this administration must be given some credit for doing this. It is part of our good governance agenda. We have been out there speaking about it. I've spoken to it on my round table, which is normally a session that I have after I do travels to say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis how my travels will benefit them. This was discussed on my round table, which is a scheduled program after each travel, not reactionary at all. And so I want to clear up that. And so those who are trying to murky the water, I want to say that it is clear where our stance is. So that task force will be out, having discussions with our people, using different fora, so that our people can participate in that discussion. And we want our people to also have the opportunity that there are challenges, there are opportunities. We must know all of it. So the caller spoke to healthcare, education, all of these matters, and these matters are actually being discussed, and these matters will be discussed with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis as well as a task force, which is a broad-based task force, is already basically in place. Not reactionary, but carefully planned. And people are trying to murky the waters and say things that has not been done and speaking out of turn, except to ask the simple question. And the round table was open to the media association, and only two media sources showed up. And the opportunity was there to ask all the questions that could have been asked with respect to CARICOM. So I want to encourage the media to participate in the activities that allow information to flow from the government to the people. And so I'm not on this show. This is not the first place I'm talking about CARICOM. I was on my round table, which is a schedule. As a matter of fact, I also did an interview in Guyana while I was there, speaking to issues of CARICOM and so forth. But I'll finally say on CARICOM. CARICOM has been mostly positive. It is a framework that we continue to work in and seek to improve. And as I've said, a decision will never be made that will affect St. Kitts and Nevis negatively, not by me or by this administration. We will always act in the best interest, first for our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I want to thank the callers again for calling in, putting their thoughts forward, their ideas forward, giving me the opportunity to clear up some of the issues that need to be cleared up. I hope I have cleared up a number of them and stating exactly where St. Kitts and Nevis stands as a country. Let me say lastly, Abel, we have not signed on to this. And secondly, the ambassador has been out speaking to it. And thirdly, the task force is put together to bring this as a broader discussion with respect to our country and society. It is Sad, though, that one prime minister spoke and I was never asked a question. And that prime minister who spoke in the interest of her country is being extrapolated to St. Kitts and Nevis. I reject that vehemently. We have our own position. We are independent, sovereign nation, and that must never, ever be questioned.
Mr. Prime Minister, I want to give you about 2 minutes to wrap thereabout. We had a very fruitful discussion here, but in that wrap, can you just speak quickly about the Public Accounts Committee as you begin your wrap up?
Right. So I want to thank you, Abel. With respect to the Public Accounts Committee, the AG has indicated that of course, is actually being put together as well as part of our, good governance agenda. There are a number of critical things that we'll be looking at when it comes to our legislative agenda. We have been a very active parliament, and we'll continue to get it right. It's not going to be right. We will not achieve everything overnight, but the pathway to achieve what we want to achieve, it's clear, transparent, and our people can see it. For the first time, Abel, politicians in St. Kitts and Nevis, they have to file what their assets are and their liabilities with the Integrity Commission. And those who don't file might have to resign their positions, or they would have to face the court of law. And I will finally say that is how serious we are, to the point where St. Kitts and Nevis is the most compliant country in the Caribbean when it comes to the issues of good governance and integrity in public life. And in short order, we have achieved that in also achieving the top position when it comes to our Human Development Index. It's not been easy, Abel. It's been challenging. But I want to thank my team that has been working tirelessly hard. It's a good team. It's the A team that is delivering for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I want to thank our people for, of course, working with us. They will not agree with everything that we do. Of course, we are not perfect. And even if we think that is very good and is very good, people will still have a different position. And it is their right to have their different positions. This is a democratic country. It allows for discussions. It allows for sharing of positions. And sometimes, interestingly enough, somebody may not agree with you. And in what they say, you can find wisdom in it sometimes. So I don't take any position for granted, whether they support me or they don't support me. I think if there is something to be learned, something to be had from it, it should be had. We should be humble enough to listen to those who oppose us as well. And so I want to say, finally, we continue to build towards a sustainable island state. There will be challenges, but the path is clear. And I think the IMF report says it, that we did not arrive at this by guesswork, but hard work with the input of our people and a hard-working A-team that I thank every day for their hard work. So thank you, Abel, and good afternoon to the beautiful people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Do enjoy your weekend.
All right, there you had it. That was Prime Minister Dr. Terrance Drew, joining us today on Inside the News. It was really good to hear the Prime Minister explain some of the issues and concerns and address them here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But at this point in time, we have to break for the midday news, and then we'll continue with the program on the other side.
Hunt and win this Easter with Shop TDC. Hop over to shoptdcgroup.com, register and start hunting. Search the website for hidden eggs and crack them open to discover amazing deals, exciting giveaways, and more. But wait, customers who spend $250 or more are automatically entered for a chance to win weekly prizes. Don't miss out on the excitement. Visit shoptdcgroup.com today to start hunting. Promotion ends April 6, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. Shop anywhere. Shop anytime.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People
Sound 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Cariboury.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com. When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
With the Win FM headline news, I am Yulana Weeks. Locally,
several local performers to showcase their talent at the 26th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Residents of Nevis raises environmental and residential impact concerns relating to airport expansion project.
The details and more straight ahead.
The first list of artists for the 26th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival was officially revealed to the public on Friday, March 15, 2024. An array of local talent will be showcased, including Small Axe Band, Greenhouse Band featuring Mishka, Akayu Sweet, Mr. Mention, Itebulous, Speedy, T-Bone, Ketidan, Highlight, Jedos, and Easy. 4 musical stars from the diaspora were also identified in the first release: Rick Ross, Michael Tija, Third World, Tommy Lee Sparta, and Alkaline. Music enthusiasts wait in anticipation a second reveal of artists. The 26th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival is being promoted as a 9-day affair, which includes 3 nights of concerts from June 27 to June 29. Information on the St. Kitts Music Festival and other fringe events can be accessed via the St. Kitts Music Festival website and social media handles. The second public consultation for the Vance W. Amory International Airport expansion was held at the Franklin Brown Community Center on Thursday night, March 14. Based on the proposed plan discussed, the existing facilities at the airport will be enhanced, such as the fire hall, the tower, the terminal building, and the runway. The runway will be extended east towards Nisbet's Plantation by 300 meters and west towards Lovers Beach by 250 meters. The runway in particular received much attention at the consultation. Individuals were interested in how the runway's expansion may affect the environment and residents in the area. Consultant Mr. Daniel Cassell gave responses.
That area of this beach that beside is a very shallow area. The sea work that we're doing there won't be very significant in terms of movement, but there will be some impact on this area that we are assessing right now, for sure.
In addition, Alexis Jeffers, advisor for the project, informed that property owners who will be impacted by the airport's expansion have been engaged.
As a matter of fact, I can say to you that we have made offers, we have had counter offers, and we have now received. We are at the point of acceptance where we have accepted the counter offers of the property owners who would be impacted. We have already reached to that stage and we are now seeking to compensate.
Meanwhile, an environmental impact assessment for the project is ongoing. The results of the assessment are to be returned in 2 to 3 weeks.
Regionally,
in Haiti, after days of relative calm, looting. This is the Guatemalan and Salvadoran consulates being ransacked. Hospitals have been too. In most of the capital, it's not the police in control, but Haiti's ultra-violent gangs. This is their most visible leader, Jimmy Cherizier, nicknamed Barbecue, a former police officer whose coalition rules vast swathes of Port-au-Prince. It's attacked police stations and government buildings to successfully oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Now the United States and countries in the Caribbean CARICOM trading bloc are pushing for a transitional council made up of the country's political parties to appoint a new interim Prime Minister and lay a roadmap for elections. But Cherizier, talking to Al Jazeera, rejected that council.
We're not going to recognise the decisions that CARICOM takes. I'm going to say to the traditional politicians that are sitting down with CARICOM, since they went with their families abroad, we who stayed in Haiti have to take the decisions. It's not just people with guns who have damaged the country, but politicians too.
While some political groups are putting names forward for the council, seeing it as a way out of Haiti's current power vacuum, revolution.
Now our fight will enter another phase to overthrow the whole system, the system that is 5% of people who control 95% of the country's wealth.
And that's no idle threat. Gangs control more than 80% of Port-au-Prince right now. Once a transitional government is in place, that could pave the way for a multinational police force on the ground in Haiti, funded by the US and Canada. Kenya's President William Ruto has said that his country will lead it. Cherizier, unsurprisingly, rejects that too.
The presence of Kenyans in Haiti will be an irony because the same people who gave weapons to people in poor neighbourhoods to rise up against the former government then lost control of those armed groups and are now appealing to a foreign force to save things. It is a mission that's failed in advance. It's a shame that William Ruto has to go in that direction.
But the gangs are nevertheless scared of it. The two main rival gang blocs in Haiti, the G9 and the G-PET, have actually come together in an alliance called Vivre Ensemble to try and prevent this foreign police force coming into the country. They know it would challenge them. Haitians have suffered immensely at the gang's hands, but the power that they've accrued mean that they have to be taken into account in what is a largely lawless state. John Holman, Al Jazeera, the Dominican Republic.
Vice President Barrett Jagdeo believes the Ghana Elections Commission must take appropriate steps to remove dead persons from the official list of electors. As of the 1st of March this year, approximately 704,439 voters were registered on the official list of electors. With the school-age population estimated to be just over 200,000, long-standing Elections Commissioner Vincent Alexander recently stated that the resident voting population should be approximately 580,000. He contends that the voters list exceeds the resident voting population by over 126,000 persons, and that includes a large number of deceased persons. But while dismissing the contention that the voters list is bloated, Vice President Barry Jagdeo on Thursday stated that while Guyanese residing abroad cannot be removed from the list, the government would like to see the removal of persons who are no longer alive.
Now he's talking about dead people. We are all in favor of removing dead people abroad or in Guyana. They must be removed from the list. GCOM has to move to remove them from the list. But it can't be you remove people who are living because they are residing abroad now, because that would be unconstitutional, as the Chief Justice pointed out.
Mr. Jagdeo said that the government is satisfied that the Elections Commission has the requisite systems in place to guard against voter impersonation.
We have a folio with their picture. GCOM have a folio with people's pictures. Many countries don't have that, a picture ID and a folio, the staff, to match people when they come in to look at them and say, oh, this is the real person. We have a ton of checks and balances in the polling places. As a result of that, of the 660,000 people on the list in 2020, only 460,000 voted.
But in an interview with News Source this week, Commissioner Alexander said the excess number of persons on the official list of electors should not be taken for granted. He pointed out that during the recount of the ballots cast in the last elections, the Immigration Department, amid allegations of voter impersonation, confirmed that 383 persons who were listed to vote and allegedly voted were out of the jurisdiction on elections day.
That voters list contains tens of thousands of Guyanese who died overseas and therefore have no legitimate right to be retained on the list. Nobody can question that, but they're scorching around it. And my contention in GCOM is that if we know that there are that number of overseas dead, when dead people shouldn't be on the list, we should find a way to solve the problem. Because it is a real problem insofar as in 2020, the recount process threw up thousands of names of persons who were listed as having voted, but who it was contended were not in the country.
Mr. Alexander said while it is claimed that GCOM has all systems in place and there is no room for voter impersonation, the fact of the matter is it occurred, according to him. The Elections Commissioner also said in the absence of a solution for the removal of persons who died overseas from the list, serious consideration must be given for the use of biometrics at the place of poll. The chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission, retired Justice Claudette Singh, has long ruled out the possibility of using electronic fingerprinting at polling stations on the basis that eligible voters could be disenfranchised, resulting in a breach of the Constitution.
The government is seeking to increase its borrowing limit by $10 billion.
The current limit is $65 billion, and if passed in Parliament, it would mean the government could borrow up to $75 billion on the local or external market.
Finance Minister Com Imbert says the local and international climates after the COVID-19 pandemic meant the country was vulnerable to shocks. He adds the government needs to ensure there is extra room for borrowing.
Therefore, in order for the government to quickly respond and provide the necessary resources for emergency purposes, it is fundamental that the government has sufficient borrowing capacity available. Therefore, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is of critical importance that the limit under the Development Loans Act is increased so that there is adequate headroom to facilitate borrowing by the government for budgetary support.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar says she will not support the motion as she challenges the government to say where the money will go.
This as she claimed the government has not had a proven track record of proper governance.
Over $300 billion spent, and now we're borrowing billions more. The government owes a duty to tell the country where this money has gone. Where the money gone, Minister? You must tell us. You must tell the country. And where will it go after today? The country demands answers. We demand answers. I ask again, where the money gone?
Internationally, in Kinshasa, people take in the news that the government is lifting a 21-year moratorium on death penalty executions, hoping to deter Congolese from working with M23 fighters.
I'd say it's a good decision to bring back the death penalty because it means there'll be no more treason in our country.
The conflict in the DRC has been going on for years. But in 2022, two rebel groups joined forces to launch a new offensive. Their rapid advance in North Kivu province has led to accusations that soldiers are collaborating with M23 fighters. Members of the army, as well as politicians and business leaders, have been arrested.
The death penalty is acceptable because we have to stop people betraying our country. They do it for money, and it's not good.
The UN says almost 8 million people have been displaced in one of the world's largest humanitarian crises. Human rights groups say reinstating capital punishment will not stabilize the country.
The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has just violated its international commitments to protect human rights, but at the same time it's also violating the Constitution. Article 61 prohibits the application of the death penalty.
Since 2003, death sentences in the DRC have been commuted to life imprisonment. Now reports suggest the government is planning public executions for soldiers convicted of treason. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Security forces in Somalia say they have killed all 5 attackers who laid siege to a hotel in a normally secure area of the capital, Mogadishu. The Somali extremist group Al-Shabaab said on Telegram on Thursday that its fighters managed to penetrate the hotel, which is not far from the presidential palace. Police on Friday said that 3 soldiers were killed and 27 people were injured in the attack. Last night, around 9:30 p.m. Thursday night, Al-Shabaab fighters attacked the SYL hotel. The security forces responded promptly after a few hours and ended the operation. We killed all the 5 of the assailants who carried out the attack. There was fatal damage to both lives and properties. 27 people from both civilians and security were wounded, and 3 soldiers lost their lives. The situation is now calm. The hotel is secure. And lawmakers and other hotel residents have started to return, and the security situation has returned to normal. Al-Shabaab, which opposes Somalia's central government, has been responsible for many deadly attacks on hotels and other places in the past.
Guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
The father of a school shooter in Michigan was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter on Thursday, in what is believed to be the first example of prosecutors targeting the parents of a school shooter. James Crumley was convicted of 4 manslaughter counts, one for each of the victims at Oxford High School in the 2021 shootings. Prosecutors argued he bore responsibility because he and his wife Jennifer Crumley gave their son a gun and ignored warning signs of violence.
We find the defendant guilty.
The verdict comes a month after his wife was also found guilty of manslaughter charges stemming from the shooting. The Crumley's son Ethan was 15 at the time of the shooting. He pleaded guilty in 2022 to 4 counts of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without parole in December. Prosecutors said James Crumley repeatedly ignored warning signs that his son was deeply disturbed, did not get him the help he needed, and did not do enough to safely store the firearm in the family home. James Crumley's defense argued that he could not have possibly foreseen that his son would carry out a mass shooting. Gun safety experts have said they hope the Crumley trials serve as a wake-up call for parents to better secure weapons in their homes. About 75% of school shooters obtained the guns used in attacks from their own homes, according to government research. Both James and Jennifer Crumley will be sentenced in April. Manslaughter carries a penalty of up to 15 years in prison.
That was the 1FM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured. Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
From the South, 98.9 FM. People make the world go
And we are back here on Inside the News. I am Jermine Abel in today. Yes, I'm Jermine Abel sitting in today. And we had on earlier the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and he was updating the nation on the latest in terms of what's happening locally, regionally, and internationally. But, you know, we kind of curtailed because he was otherwise engaged prior to coming on the program today. But he did give some insights in terms of what's transpiring on the ground here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the big concern, as everyone know, and has been calling into this program and other program, and the concerns surrounding the Free Movement Initiative, and the Prime Minister gave an update on that and what is St. Kitts and Nevis' position. Before we go to the phone lines, we have to acknowledge our partners who make the program possible, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with the discussion here on Inside the News.
The Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium will be energized by SKN's top athletes for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships. Be a part of the historic multi-city event when SKN Athletics bring you 4 days of track and field on Thursday, March 14th and Friday, March 15th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium, and Saturday, March 16th and Sunday, March 17th at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Saturday tickets are $30 preferred seated, $15 for adults on the ground, and $10 for children on the grounds. Sunday tickets are $40 preferred seated, $20 for adults on the ground, and $15 for children on the grounds. Tickets are available at City Drugstore Nevis and Digicel St. Kitts. It's energy, energy, energy for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships. March 14th to March 17th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Sponsored by TDC, the Department of Sports St. Kitts, and the Department of Sports Nevis. Energy!
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go round.
And we are back. We go to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon.
Greetings for all my brother.
Greetings.
Thanks for taking our call. And Thanksgiving I more for the information flowed in the first half. Here we go again. You know, we miss asking a question, but we can do it still, you know. We miss asking the Honorable Prime Minister, where are we with the cannabis industry? You know, these words will reach 3 years. So, we still ask the question.
Yeah, actually, that was a question. I was saying that was a question I had noted, but again, you know, we're curtailed for time, so I couldn't ask him that. But it's a question that we will definitely, I'll make a note of and definitely ask him at a different forum.
Please do. Likewise, mine, telepathically, yes. So we sat on a committee, Cannabis Implementation Core Committee. Dr. Victor Spade was the chairman. And we know that enough information, and there was other committees before that and after that, I think, and we know that enough information has been gathered to, and there is, President said, you know, there's models, this should be a mistake, this should be upside down, and, you know, there's enough for us to implement the cannabis industry up to the time going forward, and, you know, we know it will make a difference, you know, economical situation and otherwise. Okay, my brother, give thanks to the time. Blessed love.
Yes, that was our caller raising the question about the update on the cannabis project that the government has promised to undertake here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, based on what the Prime Minister said earlier, we can digest some of what was said there. He spoke to the issue of the CARICOM free movement, which a lot of us had the people in St. Kitts, a lot of people in St. Kitts and Nevis had concerns about regarding that. And he said, and he basically gave an overview and his position. Nothing has fully been signed on to at this point in time. A committee has been established that will, of key stakeholders that will take a position, and I guess gather all the information, gather feedback from people here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and, give St. Kitts and Nevis his full position. Caller, good. Okay, we missed that caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Johnny. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, on the canvas situation, with the canvas, right? I do not believe that we going to get anywhere now with canvas. Because so much country out there doing it, and maybe got a higher grade or better grade than us. And I don't see in any way now that we're going to reach anywhere with canvas, with a project. We'll do canvas or whatever. It's going to be a competition out there, just like our sugar industry.
But caller, as you mentioned that, right? And I want to, I want to touch on that specifically, right?
Yes.
And engage you on that. Yes, the grades and so forth, that's for another discussion. But as we look at the business side of it, right? The same people who are now, quote unquote, the competition are the same people who have for many years been the ones who have either put legislation in place to ban it or sanctioned people who are countries that were dealing with it specifically. But now they're seeing the benefits of it. Don't you think that this is the point in time for us to literally launch into the market, whether or not it be oil or any byproducts of it, that we should go fully into it at this point in time before the full competition actually come on stream? Because St. Lucia or St. Vincent, recently we had a news clip here that I heard, they're now looking to get the legislation passed.
Yes, but Abel, I'm going to tell you, right, them they're growing more canvas than us, and there is bigger country than us, and they don't into it. St. Vincent, especially Jamaica, and other territories, don't into it. So I believe that now going into this now, just like our sugar industry, when we had our sugar industry, we're going to get next to nothing for it. They're going to be lost. I believe that they're going to be lost with it, and then we ain't going to get nothing much for it. Just like our sugar industry had competition out there with other different sugar, from sugar factories and sugar companies and so. So nothing wrong in getting it in thing, because you got to start something somewhere, you got to start somewhere to get somewhere. But I do not believe that we're going to do much with canvas and the outer market. It's too much competition out there, and those other countries bigger than us, and they're going to go more canvas and go more canvas than us, and then we're going to just guide here, and just stop the joy of people, just start to smoke it and do whatever they want to do with it. And you know that our sugar cane used to stay here and go.
But Carlo, would you say then? But would you say then, Carlo, that the onus is on us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, if we do get to that stage, to create or pave the way for us to come with niche products or something new and innovative that we can put on the market rather than running with the same thing the competition has?
We got to create something for ourselves and not depend on them out there to do it for us. That is what just going to before you cut in here. Yes. So continue.
Yeah, no, I was saying, because if you're saying, and you're correct, that we have competition and many countries, even those that are not even into the whole cannabis industry or not known for being in the industry, they will now seek various means to compete, right? Because it's the new lucrative market. But the onus is on us here in the Caribbean, more specifically here in St. Kitts and Nevis, to craft our own path, whether it be we going into just making the oil, maybe we begin to create a market to sell to various people in the United States or wherever it is, if we're going to go into that industry specifically. Because at the end of the day, right, at the end of the day, we here have to be able to come up with something innovative, because I think one of the issues that we had in the Caribbean when it came to the sugar industry was that we were only selling sugar and not necessarily byproducts of sugar.
Yeah, I'm agree with your suggestion, because you got to start small to come up big. I'm agree with you with that. Make some kind of thing, start to make oil, make whatever they come make out it, and we are potential people, and we know that a citizen got a lot of export, a lot of chemists could do different things. There are people like Nevis Nettle and all these people who come up with the idea, doing whatsoever we can get out of our canvas and market it ourselves, and we could ship it in the Virgin Islands, Antigua, or whatsoever nearby country, until we get a big branch off with a big project for it. So, that is my little input. I ain't got to listen to the Prime Minister. When I do tune in, because I'm up here by the animal, when I do tune in, I hear the Prime Minister wrapping up. I ain't got to listen to the presentation.
Okay.
All right, then, Brother Abel, you take care.
Thanks. So yes, you're here on Inside the News. I'm Jermine Abel in today, and we are dissecting some of the major issues. We also heard from the Prime Minister in the first half of the program. For those who listen and care to weigh in on some of the comments that he made, the phone lines are open. Yes, the phone lines are open. But anything that's of interest to you, we can dive a bit deeper into it. When us, the team here at Inside the News, we tend to go beyond the headlines and find solutions to issues impacting the people in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it be those issues are local, regional, or international. Because, again, we live in a globalized environment where if it rains in Luxembourg, it will flood here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah, just probably speaking there. But you do get the idea. We go back to the phone lines here from this caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Cold, but I'm good. And you?
Man, you're giving God some while people came by to fix my phone. And it seems as though they limit me to one call a day. I hope they're listening, Since they change over the phone, every time I try to make a call, it give a busy.
Miss Henry.
So the noise has gone and I can't call it, because I've been trying to my lovely Prime Minister. Now, what I wanted to say to him, I think his answers, some of them were very unsatisfactory.
Okay, Miss Henry, you have music in your background?
Yeah, I'm going to move it.
Okay.
Let me press it down somewhere else.
We're still hearing the music. Yeah, that's better.
I'm moving it. You can't hear it now, right?
But this is better.
All right.
Okay, I guess we lost her dear. So yes, so we are looking at the major issues. Like I said, we live in a globalized environment where one thing happens somewhere, it will have serious repercussions for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We do not live in a box. We don't live in a vacuum. Nobody thought COVID would have been something that was happening probably thousands of miles away. And, it would have been touching us here in the Caribbean, or more specifically here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we also had the shipping issues in the Red Sea and thereabout, and that is also having repercussions. So we have to be very mindful and cognizant of these issues. We go back to the phone line. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Abel.
Good afternoon.
Kashai Tweet speaking. I'm going to touch one or two topics on what the Prime Minister spoke to, of which I didn't get the time to call in when he was there. And focus on agriculture. From December up to this point in time, Agriculture Department sent a bulldozer up on my land. The land was fenced, you know. The agreement they're going to include in getting involved in 25 by 25. The land will be refenced, solar fencing put in place, drip system. Because one of the reasons is that I am in 9% of the farmers and saying kids who have water. But why is it they want to complete what they started? I can't understand what's going on. Because it's not right to see. Mr. Abel, it's in a Monkey Hill well, out by the burying ground. It's out there. Me pipes, we took from there to my farm, you know. It's almost a mile in pipe, you know. Myself alone, fencing, drip lines. I was already involved in exporting hot peppers to Canada. But because of political victimization, a Saturday like today, back in 1991, that is when it all started. Go and sell produce some off my farm. Police with AK-47. I didn't come up here, come squat on my land. Keith Archibald at the time was the director of agriculture. He and others in Pajero took me and Claudia up here. I can't understand why is it they now want to come enforce on us. Some white man, our white people involved with this solar farm. We are going to buy corn from them, but look at what they're doing to me. I can't understand why is it you're doing, Mr. Abel. You promised to call me, you know. On many occasions, I have given you my number. Because I didn't get a chance to speak to the Prime Minister, you know. He knows me very well, you know. He has my number too. Because no way I supposed to be suffering how I am suffering presently now. I could have been harvesting. The prominent Secretary of Agriculture, he's harvesting. The Minister of Agriculture, he's harvesting. Why is it I'm being prevented? This thing can't be right. It is totally out of it. Because it's like, how am I going to finance myself? How am I going to live? How am I going to socialize and all these things? Mr. Abel, for the very last time, I'm going to give you my number so then you know the Prime Minister's number. Because this thing ain't right. Even the policeman, them going to come tell you I must live with a man who doing me crime. How could I continue living this way? It can't be right. You know, I had was to do Thursday. It's currently not reaching, because this thing reached a point in my life, right? Me can't take it no longer, you know. Me robbing nobody out of nothing, you know. And nobody can come rob me out, deprive me out of why the man, this can't be right. Can't be right. This man got his fence in the road. Then he went only that, you know. This man put a T on my pipe. Diverting me water to somewhere else. And that me ain't taking this much longer, you know. The things start end, they end, you know. Please, I'm asking you, you know, my number. I could refresh your mind. 668-2555. Me can't take this no longer. Goodbye.
All right, Carlo. So yes, we are dissecting the Prime Minister's comments. He addressed a number of issues today. I did indeed promise to call Mr. Tweed, and I publicly apologize. I really do publicly apologize. Trust me. Anyway, I'll give him a call after the program so I can explain really what has been transpiring that really made me not give him a call. But nevertheless, you're hearing Inside the News. It's an open line for the second half of the program. You could call and share any issues or concerns that you have, and we'll try to dive deeper into them to find solutions and give a perspective of how that impacts us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will go pay some bills, acknowledge the people who make the program possible, TDC and Caribou Brewery, and then we'll come right back and continue with more Inside the News here on Win FM.
People make the world go round.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium will be energized by SKN's top athletes for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championship. Be a part of the historic multi-city event when SKN Athletics bring you 4 days of track and field on Thursday, March 14th and Friday, March 15th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium, and Saturday, March 16th and Sunday, March 17th at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Saturday tickets are $30 preferred seating, $15 for adults on the ground, and $10 for children on the ground. Sunday tickets are $40 preferred seating, $20 for adults on the ground, and $15 for children on the ground. Tickets are available at City Drugstore Nevis and Digicel St. Kitts. It's energy, energy, energy for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships. March 14th to March 17th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Sponsored by TDC, the Department of Sports St. Kitts, and the Department of Sports Nevis. Energy!
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
And we are back here on Inside the News. Yes. So this morning we heard from the Prime Minister that about the concerns a caller raised about the CARICOM Free Movement Initiative, right? He did indicate, he did confirm that, discussions are still ongoing. He did state St. Kitts and Nevis' position at the round table and reiterated that this morning, that at no point in time when he said that St. Kitts and Nevis has signed on to or agreed to the document just yet. They still need more data. Anything contrary to that is, people are misleading the public on that. A committee has been established, and the ambassador, CARICOM, St. Kitts and Nevis' CARICOM ambassador has been making the rounds and providing context in terms of the discussions. He did say that CARICOM has benefited the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the wider region, but more specifically St. Kitts and Nevis, the economic positions and so forth. There has been concern surrounding the influx of migrants into St. Kitts and Nevis, or the potential influx of migrants into St. Kitts and Nevis should St. Kitts and Nevis sign on to it, right? And he did remind and did reiterate that any decision that is made is in the best interest of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and that the government will not seek to jeopardize or put St. Kitts and Nevis in any bad position when it comes to the CARICOM Free Movement Initiative. there are pluses and there are minuses when it comes to the whole initiative. And I think that is where now the bottom line is the government needs to begin to educate the people on whether or not, on the benefits and detriments of the CARICOM free movement, and then a position will be taken. So don't be alarmed. They will come to the public and they will educate people on it. I know one of the critical issues that will impact and influence people is change, and how that change is going to impact is what specifically they're concerned about. Interesting note. Some news just came to me. Just before we go back to the phone lines, the Keon High School has issued a press release that was issued by the St. Kitts Teachers Union surrounding the issues over there. I'll just read a bit of it. I write on behalf of our union members at the Keon High School. Our members have brought to our attention a troubling health crisis that is prevailing in the school, putting both students and teachers at significant risk. Reports of severe health issues have surfaced, ranging from constant headaches, breathing difficulties, skin rashes, to serious conditions such as vision loss and organ damage. The suspected cause of the alarming health concern is the environmental hazards within the school, specifically mold infestation. The situation escalated when a teacher collapsed on the school compound. Sorry, my phone froze there. But yes, you get a gist of what it is. I'll try to get you the full document that was released. You go back to the phone line. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Abel?
Yes.
Can I get a bit better? You can hear the noise?
No, you're much better now.
All right. Good afternoon to all the listeners at home and abroad. And to those who are grieving, my aunt who laid her husband to rest yesterday. Condolences. Now, I listened interestingly to the Prime Minister this morning. And I think he has got to come to a position where he believes that we are intelligent people. He has got to believe that. When you are saying you need the data, I would expect each country to put.
Yes, so that caller is having some technical challenges over there. So yes, so I was reading before. There's a letter here dated March 13th, and it was sent to the Chief Education Officer, and it is raising some concerns over at the Keon High School. It's a letter that was sent to him. Right, a press release, apparently it was issued a short while ago, raising concerns and calling for immediate action from the Ministry of Education's perspective. Yes, so that was just a bit of what the press release said. Investigations into the school's infrastructure have revealed concerning issues, particularly with the mole infestation. This needs attending to, like yesterday. So, yes, so that was just issued. That came to my attention. So, yes, so that is some of the latest in terms of news. I know some work has been ongoing over at the Keon High School because both the Prime Minister and government officials have been posting about the ongoing work. They did acknowledge that there are some concerns, but they're working to alleviate those concerns over at the school there. But it goes to a broader concern question surrounding maintenance of government infrastructure here in St. Kitts and Nevis, not just schools, but all government infrastructure. We know that work is ongoing at the courthouse, the old courthouse, to make a determination whether or not to condemn the building, break it down, or, if remedial work can be done to uplift the infrastructure there. The courthouses have been relocated to various locations around the Bastille area. Schools, government buildings, offices and so forth. Those are some of the concerns that are being raised over maintenance issues in general. A lot of the buildings that were constructed, they were actually constructed many, many years ago. And we have just been putting plaster on the sores, but we're not necessarily treating the problem in terms of taking out the air conditioning, taking out simple things in order for us to provide proper maintenance for these infrastructures. So, yes, so that's the latest on the concerns. The teachers' union expressed that their dissatisfaction there regarding the condition over at the Keon High School. But we are winding down the program here on Inside the News for today, Saturday, March 16th. We're already halfway through the month. As I say, we're already into April. And if we look, we are already into the Christmas carnival season. So that's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before the year has ended. We are already talking about music festival. And we saw them last evening releasing the first wave of acts that will be coming for this year's festival. I'm seeing some dissatisfaction and mixed reviews surrounding the release, yes, of those artists. So, yes. But nevertheless, you're in tune here on Inside the News. We'll quickly take a break, acknowledge our partners, and then on the other side of the break, we'll, wind down the program with the latest from Haiti as we, keep abreast with what's going on here in St. Kitts, around the region, and internationally.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Shop, hunt, and win this Easter with Shop TDC. Hop over to shoptdcgroup.com, register, and start hunting. Search the website for hidden eggs and crack them open to discover amazing deals, exciting giveaways, and more. But wait, customers who spend $250 or more are automatically entered for a chance to win weekly prizes. Don't miss out on the excitement. Visit shoptdcgroup.com today to start hunting. Promotion ends April 6th, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. Shop anywhere. Shop anytime.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
round. Yes, and as we begin to wind down the program here on Win FM, just a little bit of news from Haiti. You know, scrambles continue for food and other supplies as the gangs continue their stronghold in the Caribbean territory down there. A lot of people are lining the borders with the Dominican Republic, and the Dominican Republic also has been deporting Haitians back home, or deporting the Haitians, and it's creating a bottleneck because more Haitians are seeking to flee to the neighboring territory to get food supplies and so forth, and those who actually cross the border are actually getting the food supplies, and it's not enough. As they go across, they have to think about their families and they have to sell as well. The gang leaders there, they are not too interested, as some would say, in a peaceful resolution. They don't want CARICOM's intervention because CARICOM has been discussing a resolution to the matter at the diplomatic level rather than with the people who are holding the country hostage, basically. So the leader, Barbecue, did indicate in an Al Jazeera report that you would have heard on the news that he's not interested in the resolution to CARICOM. Now, CARICOM leaders are also, as the Prime Minister alluded to, are also seeking to find a solution based on the recommendation of the Haitian people. So they're not necessarily going to intervene until the leaders in Haiti request that intervention, whether it be financial aid, boots or troops on the ground, or just further discussions on finding a solution to the problem. It's going to be a Haitian-led initiative in terms of coming to some amicable decision on the way forward regarding Haiti. Again, I commend my colleagues over there who are working tirelessly to feed the rest of the world the information coming out of Haiti, the violence. Many are braving the violence, the gang shootings, the warfare that's going on down there, to feed us the necessary information. And those journalists and camera folks who are actually crossing the borders to enter into Haiti to provide the images and the stories and the interviews from the people on the ground there. You know, some want a peaceful resolution from CARICOM, and others do not necessarily want that resolution. So it's a very particular situation on the ground in Haiti. I do urge all to keep Haiti and our Haitian brothers and sisters in their prayers, as we, as a society, we're not like that here in this part of the Caribbean. Our regional leaders continue to say it. The region is a zone of peace, and we do hope that at some point in time that Haiti come back to some sense of semblance of order. We are here, we can walk the street peacefully, so we should be very much thankful. Do look out for our brothers and sisters from Haiti who are in the Federation. But on that note, we are out of time for today's edition of Inside the News. I was Jermine Abel sitting in today, and we had, for the first half of the program, the Prime Minister, and he engaged with the public in terms of the latest information that he can provide in terms of the development of St. Kitts and Nevis and the thrust towards a sustainable island state. I know we did not have all the callers, but that's how it goes sometimes. In the media business. You can't always get all your questions answered. So But nevertheless, I was Jermine Abel sitting in today. It was really good being in your company. Do join us again next week for more Inside the News. Not sure if I'm going to be here, but if I am, do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Do go cheer on the high schoolers as they venture to Nevis to, for the inter-school championships. Many of those who will be on show this weekend are actually going to be part of the Carifta contingent heading down to Grenada, so you can see some of the youngsters perform before they depart to represent St. Kitts and Nevis at the Karani Gym Stadium in Grenada. In the meantime, stay tuned to Win FM and all media outlets as we provide you with the latest in the world of news, sports, entertainment, and everything, but locally, regionally, and international. In the meanwhile, do enjoy the rest of your day.